1973. Amid the distant rumble of explosions and the weight of poverty, two brothers walk through dusty alleyways. Sami, 15 years old, and Jacko, 8, leave home to look for their mother at her workplace because their father passed away some time ago, and the family of 5 struggles to survive. They need her, but the world around them offers no respite, and every outing brings a possible risk. When Clara sees her children at her workplace, she becomes tense and quickly sends them home, fearing her boss's scolding if he sees them there. Even amid hardship, they share affection among the mother, her cousin, and the children, creating a refuge that endures as best it can. Nasi also appears, a peculiar man who hovers around Clara with a love-struck gaze. She is attracted to his charm, but refuses any kind of romance, feeling the weight of raising 4 children. The balance is fragile, and any gesture could break it. Sami, with adolescence bubbling to the surface, seeks the edge of the forbidden. In secret, he kisses a neighbor his own age in a hidden corner away from prying eyes. At dawn, Clara wakes him up early and sends him off to work with an acquaintance because every coin counts. He heads to a carpentry shop to earn money and help his family, taking on a responsibility that makes him walk faster. The day is just beginning, but he already feels that life is demanding too much from him. At the carpentry shop, he is welcomed warmly, with the promise of a trade and long work days. When he learns about the endless hours in the workshop, his gaze clouds over and he cries in silence, thinking about the harshness that has befallen him too soon. After leaving work, he returns home without lifting his eyes, seeking comfort in the familiar. He finds his family and neighbors gathered, playing cards and gambling, and among them, Nisa, who doesn't stop flirting with Clara. Sami watches and isn't sure what to think. Nisa sinks to Clara and with arrogance tries to kiss her, but she laughs firmly and reminds him not to cross the line. He replies that she shouldn't feel ashamed because, after all, she's not a virgin, leaving an uncomfortable tension hanging in the room. Clara's cousin, annoyed, calls him to keep betting and to leave her alone, diffusing the tension for a moment. Later, when Sami is alone with Clara, he asks her if she likes Nisa, seeking a clear answer. Clara doesn't answer directly. She talks about her great love for her late husband, who died when Sami was 6 years old, and makes it clear that only her children matter to her now. Sami listens, swallows hard, and holds back tears before managing a weak smile. Inside, he thinks that if Nasi could support his mother, he wouldn't object, but he doesn't dare say it. Over time, he looks for something different and goes to a public library to study because he likes to read and learn about the world. There, in order to take out a book, he's required to pay a rental fee he can't afford, and necessity outweighs the rules. He slips the book into his work bag, and this small act pushes him across another line he shouldn't cross. The librarian sees him, but doesn't stop him harshly. She looks at him and smiles with an unexpected curiosity. She finishes her shift and decides to follow Sami from a distance down the empty street. She catches up to him, takes the book away, and he tries to explain that he promises to return it after reading it, holding on to his dignity as best he can. The woman doesn't quite believe him, laughs softly, and opens the book, noticing it's a French story written in French. Then she invites him in for tea, as if the familiarity of the ritual opened another door. Sami accepts and crosses the threshold into the home of this stranger who treats him with courtesy. She serves him tea and watches him as he listens, while he tells her that he speaks several languages. The woman is surprised by his curiosity and discipline, seeing in him something that doesn't fit with the misery outside. As she says goodbye, she returns the book to him and tells him her name, Sonia. The encounter leaves him with a new sense of unease. Back at home, Sami sees Nasi flirting with Clara, seeking closeness through words and glances. Clara prepares a place for him to sleep because he, who is fighting against the Israeli soldiers, sometimes has to hide. In the workshop days later, a group of employees erupts over the supervisor's mistreatment and decides to quit all at once. Sami tries to ignore the conflict and keep working, seeking stability. The supervisor singles him out and yells at him to leave as well, cutting off any option for him. The next morning, aimless, he walks to Sonia's house. During this visit, Sonia confesses that she is 25 years old and points out the age difference between them, although her eyes reveal desire and curiosity. Sami reads in her room while she showers, trying to act naturally in an intimate space that overwhelms him. When she comes out, he gets nervous and decides to leave, but before he goes, he gives her a kiss on the cheek as a cautious farewell. Later, in the early morning, he meets up with his former classmates to put up posters against the soldiers who are attacking their land. The action speeds up when 2 soldiers spot them, and the chase begins. A soldier catches up to Sami and grabs him roughly, ready to drag him off to a long detention. He looks at him closely and recognizes him as one of Clara's sons. He scolds him with a mix of anger and compassion and ends up letting him go. Trembling, Sami returns home and hides the posters they put up, shoving them into a corner of the kitchen. Clara sees them immediately. She scolds him for his recklessness and also tells him that the owner of the carpentry shop reported he hasn't shown up for work in days. The house becomes a mirror of heavy decisions. Cornered, Sami confesses to quitting and to the new company he's been keeping. She asks him to stay away from those people and go back to work, not to lose himself. He refuses in his innocence, insisting on joining those men to fight for his land, as if war were a way out. The next morning, he meets up with a former classmate, and they start walking down the street, thinking about what's to come. A group of men intercepts them and violence erupts without warning. Sami is pushed to the ground and held down while they beat his former classmate, shouting "communist" at him with blind rage. When everything calms down, Sami approaches and sees the man badly hurt. Unable to share it with his mother, he seeks out Sonia as a refuge. She opens the door for him, sees his torn clothes, and understands without asking any questions. She carefully takes off his clothes, sends him to shower, and sits down to mend his shirt while the water runs. In the shower, Sami's crying breaks him down, and Sonia comes in to comfort him with silent closeness. Afterwards, they spend time together playing, trying to ease the pain, until they end up between the sheets. Sami has his first experience with a woman and lets himself go all night in a calm he had never known before. At dawn, he leaves with the haste of someone who doesn't want to be seen. His departure leads him straight to the pending judgment at home. When he arrives, he finds his mother asleep in the yard, exhausted from waiting. He wakes her, and Clara, after a night of anguish, reacts with 2 slaps. He protests furiously and yells at her that she must never hit him again. She sees the mended shirt. She immediately understands that he was with a woman and hurt, tells him that if he feels so much like a man, he should leave because he no longer needs a mother. In the following months, the impact of those words takes effect. Little by little, Sami gets his life back on track, improves his relationship with Clara, returns to work, and stops seeing Sonia, convinced that he doesn't want to date a woman 10 years older than him. For her part, Clara looks for ways to support her children. An acquaintance introduces her to Haim, an older and wealthy man who wants to meet her, and the family organizes a meal to welcome him. When Haim arrives, the atmosphere is tense, and Clara's lack of interest is obvious. But as the conversation goes on, the stiffness eases. Everyone starts laughing except for Sami, who keeps his distance. That night, American soldiers supporting Israel patrol the streets looking for Egyptians who are protesting. They catch one, and in the confusion, Nisa manages to slip away. With nowhere to go, he enters Clara's house and covers his face with a cloth, trying to go unnoticed. Clara and the children hide him in a bed, laying him down as if he were part of the family. Within seconds, the soldiers burst into the house and danger is close at hand. They want to take Nizan, but he pretends to be a sick husband. The ruse works and the soldiers leave him, frustrated. Their anger shifts and they turn to Sami, deciding to take him instead. Clara reacts forcefully. She speaks to them in English and pushes them, demanding that they leave her son alone. The soldiers give in and leave, while Nisa leaves shortly after, ashamed of the trouble he caused. Sometime later, Sami returns to the library to return the book and look for Sonia. He tells her that he doesn't feel comfortable with the relationship and that he doesn't think they're compatible because of the age difference. She admits she didn't like that he cut off contact, but emphasizes that what they have is a friendship, not a romantic relationship. Sami understands. He lowers his gaze and leaves embarrassed. The farewell makes the boundaries clear. A few days later, Haim visits Clara to take her to the movies. While she's getting ready, he tries to talk to Sami, who coldly ignores him. Haim insists. He tells him that he wants to marry Clara and tries to open a door of respect. Then, he reveals that Clara gave him a beautiful gift. Him. Haim calmly gives him a pocket watch that belonged to his father, a family heirloom passed down for generations, and places it in Sami's hands as a gesture of trust. Clara calls Haim to go out, and the man leaves with a promise lingering in the air. That night, Sami has dinner on the street and runs into Nasi at a food stand. Nasi asks about Clara and Haim, wanting to gauge the situation. Sami replies that this man is winning over his mother and that he has given her a gift. After that conversation, Nasi leaves and Sami returns home with a different look in his eyes. He finds his mother and kisses her several times, wanting to cherish that bond they still share. His perspective on Haim changes. Now he would like them to be together because he sees a possible way out. However, during the movie date, Clara can't bring herself to kiss him. The truth prevails. Haim doesn't attract her, even though he's a good man and offers a future. Clara confesses that she has ruined everything with Haim, unintentionally and without knowing how to fix it. Sami listens and reminds her that this man loves her. Night falls with a sense of uncertainty. Suddenly, a knock at the door breaks the calm. It's soldiers looking for Nisa, convinced that he lives there. Clara assures them that she doesn't know him, and after a few questions, the officers leave. She looks out the window, hoping to see Nisa in the darkness. She spots him in the distance and runs out to warn him to escape. She doesn't make it in time. The soldiers capture him and take him away as a prisoner, unleashing another cycle of tension. The community reacts with outrage. They organize trenches and prepare to attack the soldiers, determined to resist. Clara is anguished for her children, knowing that any spark could burn everything down. The military response comes with brutality. They launch a projectile that lands nearby and makes the neighborhood tremble. Sami's home suffers damage to the roof and walls, and danger seeps in through the cracks. Not knowing what to do, Sami suggests looking for Haim. The next day they find him, and he offers to rebuild the house, moved by the love he feels for Clara. She listens to him, and with a tired look, reconsiders the possibility of being with him. Amid the rubble, a promise of stability seems possible. The reconstruction changes the silences and doubts. Weeks later, another projectile shakes the neighborhood, and the blast shatters any hope of routine. The school explodes and the news pierces everyone like a dagger. That day, Jacko was in class. The boy becomes one of the victims of the attack, and the pain splits the family in two, leaving no time to understand it. Grief covers the house, and Sami, consumed by the loss, decides to enlist as a soldier. That decision is born from emptiness and from the need to do something when there is nothing left. He prepares to go to war with his heart in his throat. Clara accompanies him part of the way, trying to memorize every gesture. At their farewell, she asks him to take care of himself and come back safely, and she hugs and kisses him as if her touch could protect him. Sami pulls away resolutely, knowing he can no longer turn back. He takes a few steps and crosses to the other shore of his life. In that instant, he ceases to be a boy and becomes a man in the face of the relentless war.